I specifically asked for a chair because I hate standing when I talk to people. I have no authority over you right now. Why should I be standing lecturing you about two stories that involve beating off? I'm not going to be standing as I say that to you. The first one actually doesn't. I'm thinking here brevity is the soul of wit, simply because I've never felt more sober than watching Morgan earlier. I'm going to try not to take too much of your time. I just got two stories I want to tell. And the first one's a story that is a recurring theme in my life. And it happens every 2 months or so. And I get the common cold, which I feel is very common. You might think it's too mainstream for me, but somehow I haven't gone past it. I get the common cold, and I do the same fucking thing every time. I'm going to describe it using 2 words. And the fact that I just said I do this every 2 months means that the first word is definitely a lie. But every 2 months, I get sick and I accidentally robo-trip. Really fucking badly. And anyone that doesn't know, robo-tripping is what happens when you take too much cold medicine or cough syrup or NyQuil. In my case, it's always NyQuil because I'm fucking stupid. And every time I read the NyQuil labels because I remember my past experience did not end well. And it says, take 1 dose every 3 to 4 hours. Do not exceed 4 doses in over 24 hours. Then I flip it over and I read 10% alcohol by volume, and I'm like, what am I, a fucking pussy? I can handle this shit. And I drink 3/4 of the bottle. First of all, when you start describing your NyQuil intake by saying, I drank it, that's when you have a problem. It's a medicine. You don't drink medicine. You take medicine. But I fucking drank it, and it's enough that I said 3/4 of the bottle, just in case you don't realize this. That's the amount that they say, you shouldn't take this much in 3 days. It takes me about 15 minutes. I gotta put this down now for the next part. And after I take it, first of all, the cold goes away right away, so it's working on that level. And I'll take it, and in about 5 minutes, in addition to the cold going away, I also realize, whoa, when did gravity get so heavy? All the gravity in this entire, I usually take it at my house, all the gravity just tripled, and I don't know how to stand anymore. It's too much for me to stand. So I'll sit down, I'll watch TV, I'll talk to people, whatever. Then like an hour later, I'll need to get up and get a drink, or maybe go to the bathroom, whatever, normal people shit. And I'll start to stand, and it kind of, hold on, my legs aren't working. I'll next try to use my arms, slowly lift myself up. My arms also aren't working. So I kind of realize I need to like heave myself out of this chair, and this is always what happens every 2 months in my life. And then I fall asleep for about 6 hours. And 6 hours later, when I get up, I still can't fucking stand. I'm gonna do the rest of the show lying down. This isn't at all weird for me because I can't see you anymore. So me lying down, I like this next story actually works better lying down. We heard a lot of embarrassing stories here tonight, and that's beautiful. But this takes a special place in my heart for being the most embarrassing thing that has ever occurred to a human being. And I want you to think that's not possible and not true. Just based on other stories we've heard, or other stories in your life maybe that you think could be more embarrassing. Just because I want to set the bar so high that when I hit the embarrassing climax of this story, you realize I do not fuck around when talking about embarrassment. And this story did not happen to me. And it's okay if you don't believe that, because it's probably funnier if you picture me doing it. But I offer 3 evidences as to how you know it did not happen to me. Evidence number 1, as a comedian, like I just said, I realize it's funnier, but I'm probably lying about that as far as all of you're concerned, so that evidence isn't that great. Evidence number 2. I can't drink water sitting down. Evidence number 2 is that I'm an unreliable narrator. Because when my friend was telling me the story 5 or 6 years ago, I did not realize how bad it was going to end, and I didn't really care, because when people are talking to me, I'm not listening. But I pieced together parts of the story, and again, you can think that's a lie, that evidence, and this did happen to me, and I'm just fucking with the details a little bit so you think it didn't happen to me, and that's fine. But evidence number 3, if this happened to me, I wouldn't be here right now, none of you would see me, none of you ever would have met me, because if this happened to me, I immediately would have killed myself, without any question whatsoever. Like I said, the story takes place lying down. I would have just jumped out of bed, ran to the kitchen, and started stabbing everyone and everything, because I could not live with myself if this happened. And I can't tell you the name of the person that it happened to, because he told me this 5 or 6 years ago. And immediately after he told me this, we stopped talking, and I think there's a reason for that. So just in case any of you meet him, I won't tell you his name. And additionally, I forgot the story even happened. I just knew something awful had happened to him, and I can't talk to him anymore. And I realized how that happened. It's such a traumatic experience, I had to repress the memory for him. Him repressing it wasn't enough. Everyone has to repress this. But in about 5 years, you're going to remember I told you this story. And the story takes place between a young man and his father. I'm not sure how old the young man was because I wasn't listening. But I figured out I got an age range that I think he had to be in. He couldn't be older than like 16 because his parents still had authority over him. And I figure anyone over 16 is like, fuck you, Mom. Doesn't matter. But he was young enough that his dad had to, and in the story his dad tells him to go to bed and he had to listen because his dad had authority. But he had to be, and every time I tell this story to someone, they dispute this part, and it just disgusts me, and I'll explain why. But I'm saying he had to be at least 12, because he was just old enough that he was beating off all the time, like multiple times a day, nonstop. And I told this story to a friend of mine once, and I said he had to be at least 12, and he was like, well, no, dude, he could have been like 9. And that was, what the fuck? I knew you when you were 9, dude. We were trading Pokemon cards. Why were you sticky? I'm just getting this. This is disgusting. I don't want to picture 9-year-olds beating off all the time. But 12-year-olds I can, for some reason. So he decides to get one quick tug in before he goes to bed. And again, this is kind of a disgusting part, because I don't know what's going on, but I guess he's making too much noise by himself. Ew. But his dad hears the noise he's making and walks in his room. And he does the normal reaction, which is to stop beating off and quickly take his hand away. But science decides to fuck with him. I don't know if it's the laws of physics or thermodynamics, but he's doing this, and he moves his hand away, but the bed sheets just stay up. And his dad totally sees his cock. But his dad says, put the Game Boy away and go to bed. Which had to be the most relieving thing possible at the time, but this is not the most relieving story ever, it's the most embarrassing, so you know shit gets worse. The dad says put it away and go to bed, and he laughs it off. He's like, oh, Dad, don't you worry, I'm just going to save my game, get to the next level. I'm going to go to bed and it'll be fine. And his dad says, no, I want to see you put it away. I don't trust you. And at this point, his father starts walking towards him. And I know, like, a lot of people can hear a knock. They can be inside of a person and hear a knock on the door. Gone. It's done. This kid, his father is walking towards him and he is maintaining rock solidity. And his father says, if you're not going to put it away, I'm going to have to take it from you. Give it to me. And he says, I can't do that. And his father says, if you don't give it to me, I'm just going to take it. This is him. This is his father. Give it to me or I'm going to take it. Oh my God. I never thought to ask if he and his dad were making eye contact when his dad But it really doesn't matter. I still think he should have killed himself either way. And those are the only stories I'm telling right now.